Hello everybody, welcome to what I consider to be a long anticipated video brought to you by Cams Edelbrock Fast. I've got Vettecarlo here behind me and we are going to put a camshaft in this car, fast intake and throttle body, maybe a few other things. So it's going to be a good one. We're excited to get some more power out of this car, so let's dive right into it. Here we go. So I'm going to pull the hood off here and you'll be able to see some of the things that I've already done. So just to give you a closer view, what we've done, we've pulled the water pump and all the front drive stuff except the alternator and power steering, because you can actually get all this off. In a Corvette, it's kind of a pain, but to get the balancer off, if you take the bolts out of the steering rack, you don't have to pull all this out. You can kind of just raise this up like so and get the balancer off. So that's how we did that. We pulled the stock intake off. We pulled the valve covers off. So now what we've got to do is pull the rockers off of both sides and the push rods out. And we're going to keep up with which one goes where. Okay, so something to look for when you're pulling the rockers off. The way I do it is I look for the ones that are loose, not the ones that are compressed like these. You want to pull the ones that are loose off first, and then we'll rotate the motor and pull the other ones off to loosen them up. Show you kind of how I do this. So pull this off with the number 1 push rod. Come right over here. I got driver's side and passenger side. So that's how we'll lay them out. Okay, you can see all those are removed. I've now gone through and removed all the bolts from the timing cover, and now removing the timing cover. Okay, so now I've marked this. You can see down at the bottom there, this little indentation here. That is what you want lined up down at the very bottom, and you can see barely sticking out here. That's the hole for the pin of the cam to go in. You want that at 3 o'clock. So now I'm about to pull that 15/16 bolt out and take that timing chain off. Now, just kind of wiggle it off. Next, you'll see there's 4 of these big star bits. Use those. And that is a T40. Those together. And that O-ring stays in. The next step of this is pretty important. You want to take and don't let it fall, but spin the camshaft. Of course, now it's not wanting to do it. But what you're doing is you're spinning the camshaft, and that's going to push the lifters up in the bore so that you can put your 2 stoppers in those holes and hold the lifters up while you pull the camshaft out. So I can't do it with one hand, but you get the idea. You spin the cam, then you put it in. You can see I've already got one of my rods in, and I'm using this other one, so now I can pull the camshaft out. So I keep saying this part is important. I'm going to use the old camshaft bolt just to have something to grab, but you need to be very, very careful removing the old camshaft as to not damage the cam bearings and have to replace them when you don't want to, like I don't want to. I got it out. I thought that I clicked film, but just continuing to work it back and forth, got it out. This is our new camshaft. I'll give you the specs. I'll just put them up to the camera here. Comp, obviously. Camshaft, I'm gonna pull this out I'm gonna pre-lube everything and then we'll stick it in. Going back in. Using the same strategies, very careful, very slow and methodical, feeling for the holes, not trying to force anything that doesn't want to go. And the new one's in. I'm going to go ahead and pre-turn that to 3 o'clock that we talked about earlier. And then I'm going to put the dowel back on. First I can pull these out now that the camshaft is in. Well, it's the next day. I could tell you that I had some parts issues or worked into the night or whatever, but the truth is I enjoyed some time cruising the Charger, and NCAA Football 25 came out, so I played that for a few hours. So now I'm getting back to this thing, so let's get to it. So I've put these 4 bolts back in. I'm gonna run them down with the impact and then torque them. So here's where we put the timing gear back on. It can be a little bit challenging, so. Quick update, I didn't film some of this, I apologize in advance, but you do have to get a different gear here that's got the 3 bolts for a aftermarket camshaft. So we did that. I went ahead and changed out the old style tensioner, I guess technically it's the new style LS3 tensioner to the old style LS1, LS2 tensioner. They're less prone to break, just generally better. And we put a new timing chain on it at the same time. So now we're going back together. Next we'll be using blue Loctite on these and torquing them down. Now we'll torque to its correct spec. Okay, you guys have seen it happen. That completes our cam swap in Vettecarlo. Now we move on to the Fast 102 intake. Still waiting on a throttle body for that, but that'll come soon enough. So we're gonna stick this thing on here, make it look cool, and perform well too. So we expect big power numbers out of this thing for a relatively, a stock short block LS3 with stock heads. We hope to put some heads on this thing at some point, but not just yet. So yeah, intake going on. So here we've gotten our beautiful Fast 102 electric throttle body, which I must confess I have already opened. But that doesn't mean it's any less awesome. I haven't pulled it out of its package yet. Comes with bolts, comes with a gasket. Woo! Kind of hard to do this with one hand, I'm not gonna lie. That's a nice piece. Let's put it on. We'll fit that. It's too big. That's okay. Probably about to put the whole dang thing on fuel tech anyway. Well, folks, as you can see, we've got the injectors hooked back up. If you've watched some of the other videos, you've seen that I've got to hook them up via zip ties because all but 2 of the injector clips like that are broke. So those are all hooked up. Fast throttle body's hooked up, fast intake's hooked up, all the fuel lines are hooked up. It's a little crude, but such is this car so far. So I'm about to try and fire this thing up for the first time and see what it sounds like. Battery's hooked back up too. I don't know for sure if it's gonna start because I can't remember if everything's all as it should be. Obviously we're missing a radiator, but I don't think there's any other things that must be hooked up. So here we go. Okay, everybody, it's been a while. It's time to put a cap on this video with Vettecarlo. Cam's installed. I'm gonna turn the video around. I've now put the rest of the front back together. The radiator's back in it. It's not fully topped off with water yet. And I just hooked the battery back up. So I'm hoping that that is why it was not running. I've got a brand new OMP seat right here to replace this hideous purple one. But let's see if it runs. Come on. All right. Much more better. Got that chop. All right. So finally. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap for the Vettecarlo cam install, the Comp Cam NSR drift spec cam. We got the new balancer on there. We got the new timing set on there. We got the Comp Cam in there. We got the Fast 102 intake and throttle body on there. So you'll see this thing get weighed out and tuned on the next Vettecarlo video to see what it makes and what it weighs. So take a guess in the comments on both of those things. Take a guess on what it weighs. Take a guess on how much horsepower it makes. Thank you very much. Please consider comment, subscribe, like, all the good things for the YouTubes, and we'll see you on the next video.